everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of Aftermath TV. Caroline here alongside former WWE referee Jimmy Corderas, former WWE superstar Anthony Corelli, and the one and only Nug, sporting a Miz is Awesome t-shirt.
That's right, he's the A-lister, he's on SmackDown, he's in Money in the Bank, and he's a favorite to win it, so why not wear a t-shirt? I know he's your favorite guy, too.
Well, you know, he said it so much that I'm starting to believe he might be awesome.
See?
He might be awesome.
It's a George Costanza theory. You say, if you believe it, then it's not a lie.
Say it enough times.
Well, an awesome way to start off this show right now is tag teams, so let's get right into it. And the Bludgeon Brothers will be defending their championship at Money in the Bank against Gallows and Anderson. Are they worthy for a shot, either tag team?
I mean, sure. I mean, they're as worthy as anybody else. The Good Brothers are there. They've established themselves. If they could recapture some of the glory that they've had elsewhere outside the WWE, like others have, like you take a person like Drew McIntyre who went away for a little while, came back. Same deal with Drew Gallows, and he's brought Carl Anderson with him. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and they are a true tag team. They've been working together for a long time. Everything, all their jellification is all ironed out. They know where each other is. And you have to think differently when you're a tag team because you have to have eyes on the back. Well, you have eyes on the back of your head in the form of a partner. Anyway, they've been a tag team longer than the Bludgeon Brothers, and I think that they could be champion, should be champion, and hopefully they have a little spike in their career and have a nice title reign.
Well, and the Bludgeon Brothers haven't really been on SmackDown since they've won the titles. They've been in little video segments, but they haven't really been wrestling on the show. So they've just kind of been sitting back waiting to see who's next. Well, now it's Gallows and Anderson, and they've got, you know, the pedigree from around the world and the time together. They'll be a nice match for the Bludgeon Brothers. The Bludgeon Brothers seem to have one speed, which is just beat you into submission. Yeah. Gallows and Anderson can do a bunch of different things. It'll be an interesting match for sure.
And here's my question for you guys. On Raw, we see some tag teams that I feel like their purpose is to entertain or more of like comedic relief in the show. And SmackDown, I don't want to say they have more talented tag teams, but more skillful, whereas we see the New Day versus maybe someone like Breezango. Right. Why do you think that is?
It's hard to pinpoint. I mean, like you look at the teams on Raw, for example, like you said, they seem to be more of an entertainment segment on the show as opposed to the serious get down and get, you know, some good matches going. But you have teams like the Revival, who are a team that could be that team, and not being utilized that way.
You have the Authors of Pain, who are where are they? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it just almost seems like SmackDown has the teams that are performing. It's like back in the day. I hate to compare it, but back in the day when we had the brand split originally, this Raw and SmackDown, we always viewed us guys on SmackDown always viewed us as the wrestling show, and we viewed Raw as the entertainment show. And it almost seems that's the way it's working out with the tag teams right now.
Yeah, that perception has always been there. You know, I can't stand comedy wrestling personally. Just kidding.
Come on.
But there are two comedic teams on there. I think they should be separated because now you can have a little bit of entertainment in each show, and also they're going to be working with guys that are competitive teams and stuff. But hey, man, there was a time when the tag team, they main evented, you know, pay-per-views and big shows. So I always hope that the tag team division will become much more prominent.
The tag teams on SmackDown have a little bit of everything. The New Day, who are very entertaining, are still considered awesome and respected as wrestlers because of that great feud they had with the Usos. Then the Usos are fantastic since they've changed their attitude. And the New Day and them had a rivalry. They have had some good matches with the Bludgeon Brothers. And then the Bar is there. The Bar is fantastic. But compare them to the teams on SmackDown when the shakeup happened. Teams that don't get a lot of wins, like Breezango and the Ascension, all went over to Raw to be with other teams that never get a bunch of wins, like Heath and Rhino, and now the B team, who are suddenly #1 contenders. It's no wonder, because no one else can win.
And a question that didn't make it on Ask Aftermath this week, but I really liked it, so, and everyone, thank you so much for you know, engaging with us on social media, is that in his opinion, the tag teams have fallen kind of flat. And I want to know if you guys agree with that, and is there a better way to make them more engaging and to kind of spruce up the tag team championships in any kind of way?
Well, to be honest with you, there's no right formula. There isn't like, okay, you take a little bit of this and you add a little bit of that, and this is going to work. You know what I mean? It's all trial and error. I mean, you throw different stuff out there and see what works. It just seems that the comedic approach, as they seem to be taking on Raw, is not working. I think taking a more serious approach with all the teams,
Yep.
and just let them be themselves in a different way.
Yeah. You can have all the fun you want, but when the bell rings, you got to be able to work and try and win. And if I'm watching a match and someone's joking when it's time to compete, okay, so it's not important to them, so it's not important to me that they win either.
Right.
So as soon as you show me that it's important, I get it, it's important. Even with your partner, if you're in danger or in jeopardy and your partner is not looking like he cares very much, then I'm not going to care as much because your best friend doesn't care.
Perception
right?
is reality.
Perception's reality.
Absolutely.
The more emphasis, and it doesn't have to. It's not the in-ring wrestling that's making it kind of a little lower right now. It's just the emphasis.
Yeah. They just need a bit of a refocus. I wouldn't mind if they took everybody's costumes off of them, just made them regular people, and then just threw everybody in a mixer and remixed the teams and made new teams out of everybody.
Put everybody in black trunks.
There you go. Everybody in black
Food
trunks.
for thought here on Aftermath TV. I love it. Okay, let's move on to Brock Lesnar not defending the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank, quite possibly SummerSlam. How do you guys feel about him coming into the WWE scene like every so often, not being consistent? We've talked about this before, but do you feel like this is a title that he should be defending at Money in the Bank?
I think it should be defended more often than it is right now. I'm one of these people who think that the champion should not be appearing every Monday night on Raw. I think it should be a special appearance whenever he appears and whenever he defends the title. That being said, there has to be a good balance as well, and we're getting the wrong type of balance, in my opinion. I was a big proponent of Brock Lesnar as champion and being that special superstar. He's not appearing near enough. Even back in the days when Hulk Hogan was never wrestling on television, he at least appeared every once in a while and defended every week and made the, back then, house show loops as well. Brock Lesnar's not appearing anywhere. So to me, that's detrimental.
Do you think this is something the universe is starting to catch on to?
Well, this weekend I had somebody ask me, how come you guys on Aftermath don't talk about Brock Lesnar? And I said, we talk about what's on the television shows, and Brock Lesnar is not on the television
we're afraid
shows.
of him.
Well, not afraid. It's not that. It's just we talk about what's on the show, and he's never on the show. Now, him being away does make the Intercontinental title the only single title on Raw. Him being away makes AJ Styles as WWE champion more of a lucrative thing as well, even though AJ shows up every week. So it's that weird balance. You want him around more often, but you don't want him around all the time. But right now, he's not around at all.
Well, that brings me up to my next question. Is not seeing Brock Lesnar defending his Universal Championship all the time, does that bring light to the other championships and other superstars?
It gives them a shot to be seen, but they're seen every week now. So it's, again, do we see too much of the tag champs? Do we see too much of the U.S. tag or the U.S. team?
Jimmy's perspective was absolutely spot on. You have to have a presence, but don't. Okay, for example, John Cena defended the title when he was in his prime every week on TV. So there was no motivation to watch a pay-per-view. I just saw the champion. The champion should not be, I believe, on the weekly episodic episodes, right?
Yeah.
And but pay-per-views and special events quarterly, which is wrestling 4 times a year, is too much. But if you brought it back a little bit to even 6 times a year, there's going to be some emphasis. It's something to see. Brock Lesnar is something to see now because you don't see him all the time. But it's a little too much down the continuum.
Okay, big question for you guys here. Should they bring back the television title?
I always liked it. I always liked it because it was a guarantee you'd see a title defended on television every week, and then you wouldn't see it on the live events. You would see the other stuff. But it's not like at the live events, titles are really defended. They wait until the big events to do it. There are too many titles right now, but I think a television title is a good idea maybe for NXT. But not necessarily for the main roster.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the titles right now is that they're all heavyweight titles. The Intercontinental is kind of like a heavyweight title. The U.S. Championship's a heavyweight title. I mean, how do you determine who's qualified? Like, okay, there's 2 titles up for grabs, but I'm just going to choose one. There should be one title that your weight category or your division can go for. I find that TV title's awesome, but then if the Intercontinental Championship is defended on TV, as well as the TV title, it takes away the significance from the TV title. God,
Take a breath, Anthony.
If it were to come back, I would love to see the old school rules apply here, where the TV title is only up for 15 minutes. But the match is not 15 minutes. Only the title is up for the first 15 minutes of the match. So if you win the match, let's say 16 or 17 minutes in, you win the match, but you don't win the title. It caused a lot of controversy back in the day.
My first title ever was the OVW Television Championship, so it has a special place in my heart.
Love it.
Great conversation, friends, but we got to go to break. When we're back, we talk about the UK Championship.
UK go?
Welcome back to Aftermath TV, everyone. Now, guys, as of late, we've filled out March Madness brackets, NHL, NBA. We're close to filling out a World Cup bracket, but we could also add the UK Championship to our list because, as we can see, the bracket is now out. Who are you guys most excited to see? And I'm going to start this off saying Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher, because I'm a fan of Jack Gallagher's after WrestleMania 34. And I've been hearing really good things about Joe Coffey. So
Joe Coffey is someone you got to look out for. I'm telling you, it's a good lineup, but that bracket right there where you see El Ligero, there's no El there, versus Travis Banks. This El Ligero guy, he's been around for like 14 years, but he looks like a young Rey Mysterio.
He really does.
Basically.
There's another bracket over there in the bottom left that has Jordan Devlin. He was in the tournament last year, and he went very far, and he's very good. And you know he's out for revenge to try and do better than he did last year. And he's the only guy with the experience of the tournament behind him.
But unfortunately, he's fighting a guy with the name T-Bone.
I know.
That's a tough draw.
Well, that's what they say. That's like the strategy behind brackets is like picking your favorite name or favorite color, and those people usually do well, whereas we would probably analyze every little thing and exactly, and our picks would not go through.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's going to be a fun tournament. It was last year, and it's a different style because anybody who watches the British style, everywhere in the world has their own little kind of style niche, if you want to call it, and the British style genre.
Yeah, true.
I almost wish that they would go like full on where the British style, where they used to have rounds.
Yeah, oh, that was fun.
I almost wish they would have done that too.
I loved rounds. The thing with this too is already every matchup's going to be good, and as it progresses, they just get better and better, and the anticipation grows. And Pete Dunne's waiting for the winner.
Yes.
And
Good luck, everybody.
Exciting, right? I know. Good job, but it comes to an end. Switching gears just a little, does Canada have enough talent to make a Canadian tournament?
Let's just
now
universally say yes.
I know. I feel like this is already.
You don't even have to say Canada. And sorry, the rest of Canada, but Ontario has enough talent alone to have a tournament. But where do we start? Tyson Dukes is the most respected and veteran here in Ontario. You have RJ City, he's the guy who would put the E back in entertainment. I mean, like,
100%.
No, I'm serious. This guy is
Brett
awesome.
Banks,
Brett Banks, Tarek,
Alexander, Josh Alexander,
Alexander.
Ethan Page. I'll go out on a limb. Marcus Burke, Space Monkey. If you haven't seen Space Monkey, you're missing out.
That guy will drive you banana.
He will drive you banana.
But what about in Quebec? We have Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yep. The Tabernacle team.
Yes.
And you've got and even from.
Can we say that?
I know I was about to say.
The fraternity, great tag team. The fraternity.
It's the name of a team. All right.
It's fantastic stuff.
Dustin Quicksilver.
But lots of guys, lots and lots of guys. And what's great is they get to travel around and work at all these different places so that you get to know who they are everywhere. Yeah. Guys from the East Coast come to Ontario. Guys from Ontario go to Vancouver. Yeah. It works out everywhere. They're not locked down to one spot.
I actually wanted to pitch this idea, so I sat down in front of the computer and I wrote down that. Because this is, that's not 32 guys,
that's
is it?
16.
That's 16. I wrote down 32, which is before that, obviously. And I easily came up with 32 names. Yeah. So it depends what scope you want to have the tournament, but we could have a 32-man tournament in Canada, and the majority, about 80%, are from the GTA.
I feel like it might have been a dumb question because you guys got so excited and literally spat like 400 answers at me, but I love it. So I want to stay on this topic. If there was a Canadian tournament, what would be the best matchup?
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did my job.
You know what?
Stumped you guys.
After what I just saw Josh Alexander do this weekend, he's up there.
Yeah.
And I could see Josh and Tyson in the finals.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Goosebumps.
I recently saw a match between Brett Banks and Mike Speedball Bailey, and that is a match that would rival stuff like stuff Ricochet has done pre-WWE.
Brett Banks is like a Kofi Kingston.
And if I could pick a match that I think would be entertaining and like fun to watch, but also fun to listen to, I would pick Ethan Page against RJ City.
Oh my
God! That would.
Don't forget the adventurer.
You can't forget Mike Rollins.
Mike Rollins is fantastic.
Psycho
There's
Mike.
so many names.
So what makes Canada such a breeding ground for wrestling or WWE?
I wish there was I wish there was an answer for it, because Canada has been a hotbed forever. You look at the past. Hamilton was a hotbed for many, many years. Yeah. Calgary, you can't forget Calgary.
Cambridge, even Cambridge.
Yeah.
They did TV.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think because of our geographic location, we swing down towards the States, and we're so close to Detroit and not far from Chicago and Ohio and Pennsylvania and upstate New York, where there is a lot of wrestling going on. Yeah. We can go out to all those places and get all that experience.
It actually works against our wrestlers, because there are so many talented Canadian wrestlers that they have, let's say in NXT, they have a Canadian quota that's filled. They can't justify hiring so many more people from out of the country when they have so many wrestlers in the country, even though we're better than a lot of the guys that are there.
Well, maybe it's time for the WWE to develop a farm system up here in Canada.
Oh, that's a good idea.
To bring this conversation, full circle, who are some of the up-and-coming Canadian talents that people should keep tabs on?
We've listed 1,000.
I thought you were pointing at Jimmy Corderas.
Keep an eye on Jimmy.
Randy Arruda, Mike DeRosti.
Oh, there's so many. Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, and you know what? You could make that list, like Anthony said,
D-Man
32
Parker.
people.
Oh, it goes on.
Oh,
and
my
on.
goodness.
John Atlas. There's so many.
There's just so many. Yeah.
And if we forgot any guys,
we're sorry.
Yeah, we apologize because
we got a chance to say your names on TV.
Freedom
we got
Wallace.
excited.
I wish the Aftermath TV fans could feel the energy in the room just hearing you guys speak about it. It's because we're patriotic. We love Canada. All right.
And young talent.
It's
man.
true.
You know what? I'm getting a new Canada tattoo. I gotta tell you.
Me too. You want to get matching tattoos?
Yeah. Well, I used to have one on my shoulder. It's my first little tattoo, a little maple leaf. Yeah. And then when I played a Russian character in OVW, I had to cover it because it was on TV. And it's always bothered me. So it's time to get that Canadian maple leaf back on the flesh, back on the skin.
No hammer and sickle anymore.
Let's all go get tattooed.
Lionel Knight. Let's go Lionel Knight. There's so many.
Throw 'em out there.
All right, let's head to break. When we're back, another 3 count coming your way.
I'm doing it.
The last time Nug spoke to the Velveteen Dream, it was nothing short of amazing. So here the Dream is once again on 3 count. We meet again with the Velveteen Dream, except this time we want to ask you if you're willing to play a game we call 3 count.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you 3 questions and you can just answer them to the best of your abilities, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, is this timed?
No. Okay. Who or what inspired your wrestling career?
Me.
Okay, moving on. Who would you love to go on a...
Did you want me to elaborate?
No. No.
You sure?
Nope. If it's you and it's just you, we're good with that answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you could road trip with anyone on the roster, who would it be and why?
The NXT roster or the
Sure.
Raw roster?
Whatever you want.
Vince McMahon. Yeah.
And why?
Well, the umbrella known as WWE is owned and operated by Vince McMahon. Talking to him, I mean, I work for him. I don't work for anybody else. No one else is signing my checks. So, I mean, that's the only person I should really be talking to.
Great, smart answer. Very good answer. I feel like I need to take a page out of your book and start studying it. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, and what has been your favorite match of your career so far?
The next one.
Touche, Velveteen Dream. Thank you for playing 3 count.
Thank you for having me.
He was way nicer to you.
I know. He took it. It's funny you said that. I said he took it easy on me. And also, who would not want to see that road trip with Vince McMahon in the Dream? Like, I feel like that'd be epic.
I want that episode of Road Trip.
Yes,
I want that happening.
Yeah, ride along. Is that a ride along?
Yes, I know. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. Okay, guys. Velveteen Dream and Ricochet kind of had a nice encounter the other day where we saw Ricochet go over the top rope, and Velveteen Dream is just so enthralling. Can we talk about his impact on the universe? Both of them.
Well, Ricochet, anybody who's seen him outside the WWE knows what he's capable of. I think they're going to find out at NXT TakeOver Chicago coming up what he is capable of. And we talked so much about the Velveteen Dream. He's money.
When they came through, when NXT came through Southwestern Ontario, and they were in Mississauga, and we got to see Ricochet against Buddy Murphy to kick off the night. That match blew the roof off the place, and it was only the beginning of the night, and it was because Ricochet and Buddy Murphy were both so good. To imagine Ricochet and Dream coming up at the next TakeOver, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, Ricochet, I mean, over the years I've seen examples of his athleticism. I haven't seen a limit. I haven't seen something that he can't do. It's just his imagination is his only limit. He just dives out of the ring, and I'm watching the ring. The ring's, let's say, 4 feet. The rope's another 4 feet. Yep. So he's doing a somersault off of, and he's clearing it. So that's almost 10 feet.
Insane.
And sticks the landing.
But landing and continue to stride in perfect motion. I've seen him do it also backwards. He does a double, what's it called when you jump back there? Moonsault. A double moonsault. The only thing I'm afraid of is that when he continues to push the envelope, there's going to be something that he can't do, and they're so extreme, he may get hurt. I don't want to see him get hurt. He's a really good kid. He's respectful and hardworking and strong, and he's the future. We need you.
And the sky's the limit.
Please don't kill yourself.
If you guys haven't seen it, please head over to the WWE YouTube channel because it is something you have to see. But moving forward, let's focus our attention onto our lovely fans. It's time for Ask Aftermath. And the first question we got was, should there be any repercussions for a wrestler or anyone else who comes and interferes with a match?
Yes, it's called Monday Night Raw. It's every show. It's everything. That's how things happen on the show.
But there should be an actual repercussion after the fact for the person. So if they come out there and say, okay, last week, little Timmy here jumped in the ring. This week, his punishment is X, Y, and Z. Because the people are getting away with this stuff. There's no deterrent.
Let's draw the hockey analogy. Since we live here in Canada, it's like the third man in rule. It applies when it feels convenient. You know what I mean? How many times have we seen guys get into scuffles and somebody comes in and face palm somebody else and nothing happens? So it's the same here. Thanks.
Well, you know, if the objective now is obviously to make people suspend their disbelief you have to respect officials.
True.
And you can't cheat.
Yeah, where was that respect when I was there? Jeez.
It was nowhere, Jimmy.
Quickly, our next question, a little bit of a throwback. What pre-WrestleMania wrestler would fit in the best in today's WWE? Great questions, everybody.
Less than a minute.
I can think of a few, but I'm going to go two. I'm going to pick the Love Brothers from the 70s.
Yes.
And Nick Bockwinkel.
Okay.
Jesse Ventura or... What did I say before?
Oh,
Superstar Billy Graham.
I got one for you. The Welsh superstar. Imagine what he could do to you. Exotic Adrian Street.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
I think he would be phenomenal.
With Miss Linda, yes.
With Miss Linda.
How about Edward Carpentier with La Savac? Do you remember that guy?
Ox Baker.
Aftermath TV fans, we appreciate you so much. We love interacting with you on social media. Please keep sending in your feedback, comments, questions, anything that you have. Right now, enjoy the latest episode of SmackDown Live. Some exciting stuff coming up. And the crew will see you next Tuesday.
Karate.